Welcome everyone to the Vermin Sermon. Today, for our first topic, we're going to talk about something that, in essence, changes every few years. And no, it's not of real importance, but it's just something that I thought was quite interesting. And it's how a Need for Speed should be divided into eras. Because, you know, before I would call games like Hot Pursuit 2010 and onwards the quote unquote modern era or something like that. And I know a lot of people would as well. But those games are 10 years old and slightly less, but that's not necessarily modern. And I think there are other ways to categorize things. Because if you think about it, if you're in the 90s, right, then Need for Speed 3 Hot Pursuit is and High Stakes are quote unquote the modern era.
To be fair, it's because I don't think they've updated like the parameters of what the modern era is. Like I
Yeah.
guess you could say because you could say the change from Rivals to Need for Speed 2015. You could say
Hmm.
2015 onwards is the modern era, like or like a renaissance back to like what they used. It wouldn't be a
Yeah.
renaissance. It's like a return,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like to it's like a return.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, they've had two returns to form. They've had Hot Pursuit 2010, and then some of the games that followed after that, and then 2015. Just different styles.
Every 5 years.
Yeah, every few years they
Actually, if you
go
go
back to
back,
that.
great example of that is you go back another 5 years from Hot Pursuit, and then you got Most Wanted 05,
Mm-hmm.
which is the one game that
It kind of combines
like
like
if
the
I
essences of
literally
both.
was to ask people like if I was out of flat plays, they would all say they played it. Like they
Yeah,
always do. Like they
yeah,
play
yeah.
it, and I love doing that around.
Side thing. I think Most Wanted 05 is one of the best representations of both um, original Need for Speed and Underground. And I know that's gonna scratch some heads and confuse some people.
Most
Well,
people
two
don't know
things.
about the old or
Two
haven't
things.
played the old games.
The
Hang or something.
the first thing is it's the first game in the series to bring back supercars, and then also it has cops in it, whereas Underground 1 and 2 didn't, right? And so it tried to mesh the two. So that, and two, it's 8 in the morning for me, so if I say something stupid, then enjoy the entertainment of it and go kill yourself. So, with the next generation of game consoles.
I write that. That's we're definitely on the
By
burn
the way,
zone right now,
don't don't
baby.
don't actually kill yourself. Please don't do that. Now with the new generation of game consoles and Need for Speed games to be made by Criterion again, things are a bit different. Calling Hot Pursuit 2010, 2012, and Rivals the Criterion era because Criterion either made those games or they assisted in developing them, since Rivals was both Ghost and Criterion. Um, you know, I think pretty much everyone can agree that up until Hot Pursuit 2 is the classic era. Just because the style of game was entirely that kind.
How if you wanted to let's say we could approach it like actual eras in time, like that's the classical era.
Yeah,
Those games.
yeah, yeah. So up until Hot Pursuit 2. And those games, um, yeah, I do see the appeal in a lot of different ways, but
The soundtrack, I know
dude,
you
the
like.
soundtrack. Yeah, I was gonna talk about that a little bit. So it's
Overall,
weird to think about. I feel a lot of nostalgia when I hear songs from the soundtracks of Carbon, Most Wanted, Underground, Pro Street, etc. But since I never played those early Need for Speed games as a kid, I can't feel nostalgia for them. But I remember when I first heard them, I was like, "Whoa, what is this?" I envy the people who feel nostalgia for the old Need for Speed games because those like the OST
you
is
know what?
already fantastic. Like
One
on
thing
its
that's
own,
interesting
it's
about
on a
that
level of its own. Yeah.
because we could talk about nostalgia and the idea that you like those regardless of nostalgia.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Like that doesn't play a factor.
Yeah.
That might mean they're just that good. That's not
It just is. Yeah. And I can see kind of why, the talents of Ram DiPrisco and also
yeah.
just all the other composers and whatnot. Because I think it's a bit different when EA hires someone to go make music, because when you're hired to make music for a project, you have in mind what the project is about rather than when
And
you
usually
just
there's like they give you a brief on like what they kind of want out of you for like
yeah
composing.
Yeah, yeah. Whereas with a licensed soundtrack, unless there are songs that are licensed that are designed specifically for that game, because there are some of those, it's not going to be the same. And it's just wow. I don't know. I absolutely crazy just how
I love the
addictive
especially
those
with the
songs
old
are.
dudes with is they just pick licensed songs like that. I guess they thought sounded good for the game, and it's
Yeah.
almost like they're not part of its identity.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like with my boy, I remember I played Lupe Fiasco. I just tilted for
Yeah.
fucking
Um
oh 05,
Most
and I
Wanted,
just
yeah.
queued it up for like no reason, and then it turned into like an old convo where these guys having nostalgic moments over old Need for Speed games,
Yeah,
and they're
yeah.
not even like racing game fans.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Like
It,
they knew off rip where that song was from.
yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh
Dude,
my
I mean
god,
like one of my
it's like it becomes its identity. I like that
yeah.
instead of being made for it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But cuz there are songs like PD Pablo Need for Speed in Underground 1, you know. Uh or like there were like weren't there like I think two Midnight Club related songs in Midnight Club 2 that the
Ah,
artist
yes,
made
there was
for it.
that this Blue Water Midnight
Yes.
Club too, the
And
actual
then
theme.
the one by who was it? Oh, I can't remember.
Wait, what part of
Anyways,
the game was it from? That shot?
anyways,
Because I
there,
remember Midnight Club 2 was
yeah, yeah, yeah,
the song
by
that played when you race dice.
Dice, yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought there was one other one by Eight Off Aguilar or something like that. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
that was the other one.
Yeah, so there are some cases where the ones who are being licensed will produce a song for the game, but um, you know, most Wanted of Five. That's how I found Mastodon, which is my favorite band of all time. You know, and then they just released a song from my perspective at the time of recording this yesterday. So
I
that's
think that one
just one of
that
those
oh yeah, I
things.
just looked up Eras of NFS. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's literally just called Midnight Club 2. Him.
yeah.
I remember they also had a song when was it GTA 3?
Hmm.
Yeah, just it's like oh, to me that song is like to me pretty iconic.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. And man, I don't even remember how we got on talking about this. Uh, Classic Need for
I
Speed
love the song
soundtracks.
where they
That's what it
specifically
is.
saying because we're legal street racing, they make it apparent, and it feels
Yeah.
apparent in Midnight Club 2 with the whole
Yes.
vibe
Yes.
of
Yes.
what you
Yes.
do. It's very apparent.
Well, there you go. We full on talked about Midnight Club again.
Midnight
We're
Club wins.
gonna check that off the box. All right.
Of
So
course, it's like you could do like Vermin Sermon bingo, like oh take
yeah,
like yeah
mentions
like
Midnight
take
Club.
a shot every time they fucking mention Midnight Club. You guys won't make it through a sermon.
Yeah. You know what? I gotta
Consider
look
it
that
limit
up.
testing.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no, no. Imagine that on like the Midnight Club podcast where we keep like bouncing between each game. Was like drink each time they switch between the different Midnight Club game on the
Oh my
Midnight Club
gosh.
podcast.
No, that we would probably be held accountable for the cause of many
Alcohol poisoning.
alcohol-related
Yeah.
deaths. So, Need for Speed soundtracks. The original ones are crazy good. If you haven't I guess felt nostalgic for it, and even if that's not the genre of music that you normally listen to, or of the genres of music that you normally listen
I think
to,
you're the ultimate example to show that you should listen to it regardless of what genre of
yeah,
music you like.
yeah, yeah, yeah. To anyone who doesn't know, a lot of what I listen to is sludge metal, groove, thrash, melodic melodeath, and just
I love playing
other
thrash metal.
different types of subgenres of metal, and often like those blended together. So Mastodon, High on Fire, a little bit of Orange Goblin, The Sword, and then also stuff like Megadeth, Flotsam and Jetsam. Like I should
Classic.
not, by any means, like the original Need for Speed soundtrack,
It's like it's
but I
nowhere
think
near
it's
like you're nowhere near
amazing.
the targeted
Yeah,
intended
no,
audience,
like
but
I'm as
somehow
far
they just got
away
them.
from the target audience as possible.
To be fair, I feel like that's how I'd say a lot of people felt about like Gran Turismo. That soundtrack, those ones.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
to
that's
be fair,
true.
it's interesting because I talked about this with GSC from Cam server. It was about Cassiopeia in 1979, that album, right?
Hmm.
And that album it's responsible for why Fusion Jazz is linked to motorsports in Japan, or like games in general.
Oh
Like they even
yeah,
use like
yeah.
they even use the same scales for Fusion Jazz in Mario Kart soundtracks. Fun fact.
I
Fun
did
fact.
not
They
know
just
that.
don't. It's not Fusion Jazz usually. It's still the same scales.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But
And it's like
bro,
1979, they laid down that groundwork. So like, I wonder if they realized what they did.
hmm.
Because yeah, even Andor, the fucking composer for the Gran Turismo soundtracks, and he was a member of the Fusion Bears band T Square. Fun fact: they had a song called Truth, which was literally the anthem of F1 for Japan.
Oh really?
Because it was like the intro for when they'd have an F1 race. They'd have like, it looks so Gran Turismo 3, like the models of the cars they'd pan them that they used.
Yeah.
And yeah, they had that song, and it's like, yeah, 1979, that album, and they laid down that groundwork, and I don't realize if they knew exactly what they laid down. I wonder if they do. No
Hmm.
one's interviewed them on it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting.
To be fair, yeah, Andor says T Square would have never existed without Cassiopeia. That's the reason why they made that band. And then in
Ah,
turn, yeah, we wouldn't even had those songs for Gran Turismo.
yeah. Really weird to think about. Um,
You gotta find Ground Zero.
Going back to I guess how games should be divided in the era. So I thought about this, and I think from Underground until Pro Street, not until Undercover, and not until Carbon. From Underground 1 until Pro Street, I just call that the Blackbox Golden Age. Um, and it'll make sense, like, oh, wouldn't that be the Underground era? Not quite. Mainly because of Pro Street, and mainly because of something else that I thought about. But from Underground until Pro Street, I would myself call it the EA Black Box Golden Age, and the reason is because of the games that happened after that. So I'm not. By the way, I'm not going to include Shift or Shift Two. Those are spin-off games. Nothing wrong with them. I actually like them, but wouldn't make sense to kind of try to shoehorn them in here. So I would call from Undercover to Rivals the era of confusion. Undercover was going to be like Most Wanted 05, but then just ended up being off in multiple ways, from handling model to physics and some parts of the story. I know that there are some people who think Undercover has the best story in Need for Speed, and that's completely fine. At least had one, um, and had a little kind of a twist ending or something, although very predictable. But who knows? Um, there you go. However, there's a lot of it did feel cheesy, and that's kind of a given. Honestly, like it's same could be said about Most Wanted and Carbon, but whatever, right? Undercover handling model felt weird, and there are loads of other little weird things about it that prevent it from being the you know in what I would call the black box golden age. Because again, it's so weird that to think about how they basically rushed out Pro Street as quickly as they could, so they could just get more time to work on Undercover, or like one more year to work on Undercover, and then it ended up being that more people remember or like Pro Street on average than those that remember and like Undercover. That's that's weird, but it is what it is. So I think that's just really like, huh? How did this happen? Like this is made by EA Black Box. Like that's the feeling you get when you play that game. Confusion. Hot Pursuit 2010. Yeah,
Confusion.
Hot Pursuit 2010 was like classic NFS. So like all the way later, right? We're going all the way back, and it's like classic Need for Speed all over again. Except it has Pursuit Tech and some other stuff. I know it's not a popular opinion. I really don't like Hot Pursuit 2010, but I completely see why people do like it. It is what it is.
People are hissing at you right now. They are on the way with pitchforks.
Yeah, I mean, like I enjoyed the online multiplayer. I think it's a
That's
solid
amazing.
game. It's a solidly built game. Like you won't be flying through the ground, or you won't hit a tree and then go like 270 degrees to the left of wherever you ran at it towards. So it's the game's not broken. I can definitely commend it for that. But it's like classic Need for Speed. So you're like, wait, I thought it was about cars and customization, because like you're at that point. It's like 2009 or something.
Yeah.
Shift, the spin-off game came out, and you're like, okay, but the last one was Undercover, and before that was Pro Street, and that still had like cars and upgrades and purchasing cars and whatnot. And then all the way back to classic Need for Speed. But okay. Then the Run. The Run's an interesting one. I enjoyed the Run. I played it for the first time a few months ago, I think, a few weeks ago, whatever. I think I talked about this on the Vermin Sermon, so there you go. My first time experience with the Run, but it's basically a cinematic video game. Think Sony first party IPs, and not a very long game. It's like, what is it, 2 hours?
Yeah, you can burn it out pretty quick.
2 hours, 3 hours. No, actually, I think it's might even be more. But um, very short game. I thought it was very enjoyable, but that's definitely gonna be confusing to a lot of people because you're like, wait, so EA Blackbox is back, but this is a game that they make. What's going on? Oh yeah, and it's
What's
worth
going
mentioning
on?
that people mainly remember Criterion for Burnout 1, 2, 3, Revenge, and Paradise.
Some people
And
don't
then they
tend
made
to because they always talk shit on Criterion.
yeah, and then they made Hot Pursuit 2010. So people are like, wait, how is this? Okay, interesting. Again, confusion, and again the Run confusion. You pay
To be
$60 and get a game that lasts you 2 hours. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad.
That's not good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I know there's challenge series. Yeah, I
And
know the
the
online
thing is,
multiplayer is great, but I
yeah,
get why people were upset about the Run.
some people always would love to mention. And it's weird now because they don't, but it used to be the argument they'd always use indie games like, oh, but indie games don't last long. Yeah, but they're like $10. That now they
Yeah,
last longer than most AAA
a
titles.
lot of them do actually, because a lot of them have a principle in the gameplay that will make you want to spend more time with it. Like for instance, roguelike games, where each run is different, or those roguelites where you slowly make progress each time, right? So for example, this game called
Yeah.
Dead Cells, you collect
If you
cells.
haven't heard of it,
I'll just say that it's a lot of stuff to explain, but you collect these things over time, and then you use the collectibles in every run to either buy something or move toward an upgrade,
yeah, like
right? So you like
that
deposit
kind
them
of
into
thing.
it. So you do make a little bit of permanent progress, and that encourages you to keep playing and keep playing and keep playing. Whereas the Run, it's you beat the game in 2 hours. You do the challenge series, which is another like maybe another two, maybe another three, honestly, or
To be
even more than
fair,
that. I don't know.
because of
There's actually
that
quite a
Dead
few.
Cells, what comparison, it reminds me of another roguelite,
Yeah.
Into the Gungeon.
Ah, yes, yes.
And that's a weird one because it's like every run, it's like its own thing. Like
Yeah.
it's not like it can. Actually, it is you can quantify your progress because the more you do it and the better you do and stuff, you unlock better guns that you could possibly get from chests to make things
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah.
But in the end, it is still like it's skill based in the way
Mm-hmm.
that you can get good shit, but I hope you're good enough to like not die having that.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's
Love that
those
game. Fell
indie
down a
games,
fucking rabbit hole.
they get the I guess time per money equation right, whereas the Run just got it wrong.
That
I
time
think
for money for
it
some
got
indie
the
games is
like
fucking crazy.
I think Run got the value equation almost right in terms of quality, because the
Yeah.
car handling, I mean, it's not the best in the series, but it's quite good. Like I would actually consider it in from honestly from Pro Street until now. I think the Run might be my favorite Need for Speed handling personally, um, because some parts of Pro Street it felt really weird. Undercover is undercover. Hot Pursuit 2010, I thought it felt slow and sluggish and like molasses. Most Wanted 2012
Molasses.
was also molasses simulator, and then Rivals just brake to drift all over the place. 20,
Molasses
20
simulator.
yeah, yes sir. 2015 was your beta testing a $60 game.
Pretty
Payback
much.
is no. 2015 is your alpha testing a game. Payback is your beta. Now you're beta testing it, so it's a little bit better, but it still has its problems.
Wait, if you think about it, sure, if you think about it with that logic, then again, 2015 people got to play pre-alpha because there was a beta.
Yeah.
Oh god, it was a pre-alpha. Remember how like scuffed it was to join? Like you just randomly get kicked a lot. Yeah, that was a
Oh
huge
man.
thing. I
Yeah.
remember that. That was literally pre-alpha.
Or
Literally
actually
pre-alpha
no.
testing.
I don't remember getting well because I think they had separate servers for PS4 and Xbox One, and the PS4 servers were fine at first, but then they tried to update the game during the beta, like to test it out, and so the update raised the level from max level from 20 to 25, and then that massively messed up the PS4 servers, and you could only
Oh,
like
actually no.
chill on
That
Xbox.
makes a good point. That was around because at the start with the Xbox, that was also on. It was like fine, and
Mm.
then when they did the 20 to 25 update, it's like, ooh, it wasn't
Cause
bad
no
for
no no
me,
no
but some people were like,
because I don't think they did that on Xbox. I thought they only did that on PlayStation, and then that update messed it up on. I don't remember. It's been so long, man. So long.
I remember they did some update. They're
Yeah.
gonna do the Xbox One servers, and it like fuck them.
Oh
Like
yeah.
some people would get in, play for 5 minutes, and then they get dropped.
Ugh. Yeah.
Like mine wasn't like that. Mine was I'd get dropped consistently, like every 3 hours.
Dang.
So it's like I
Yeah. No,
kind of
I
knew
was
like,
lucky.
oh,
I
it's
didn't.
drop time, and oh, okay, I got dropped.
Luckily, I didn't
I
necessarily have
remember
that
what happened
problem.
on the Xbox One version that was scuffed was I pretty much did most of the story. Like I think I nearly 100% of the story in the beta. But I remember I got to the end of the RWB storyline and I
Um.
fucking and oh no sorry it was EA Access.
Yeah, it was EA
I'm
Access because the beta was
my
capped.
brain is old and decomposing. It's winning. But yeah,
Uh,
and I remember in EA Access, I'm nearly 100% the story during those 10 hours. I just having fun
dang.
all that. You could have speed run it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I was just trying to have as much fun. But one
Hmm.
thing I did, which was fucked, was I wasn't checking how much time I had left. I did the
Oh
build
man.
storyline as the RWB cutscene was doing when Nakai came through.
Yeah.
At EAX has ended and I never got the achievement.
Oh.
It was literally locked forever. On my account, it's
Oh
locked forever.
man. Wow.
And the thing is, I even like reset my shit, just reset like this because it carried over,
Yeah.
and I just reset it, did it again. Yeah, it didn't pop for me. So it's just locked forever, I guess. Unlike you.
Wow.
literally I could not get 1,000 because of that. And then you look at the hours
Dang.
I played and across like how many months, it was like, oh,
Oh my
wild.
gosh. Yeah. Rip. Rest in peace. Um. But yeah, you see, like all those games, and I didn't even talk about Heat's handling model. I know a lot of people really love it, but when you look at the drifting, and it still has understeery weirdness to it, I don't know. I think the run is probably as my favorite Need for Speed handling since Pro Street, basically. So, in any case, you know, era of confusion. Undercover is supposed to be like Most Wanted 05, and that's definitely not. Hot Pursuit 2010 is like classic Need for Speed. The Run is a weird, short cinematic experience that a lot of people disliked because of how short it was, and a lot of people liked because of how good it was. And so, if only it was longer, that would have made quite a difference. However, that's not the case. So that's probably that probably threw people off. The Most Wanted 2012. A lot of people compare it to Burnout. You have this open world, you have billboards and private property gates and like a big open world, and you have jumps and like what's going on here? And the way you get cars is you just find them lying around and you carjack them. The story is very basic, and it's just Most Wanted 2012 is a very confusing one. I take it. I don't think a lot of people
Yeah.
were really understanding what's going on there. Um, yeah, a lot of people say it's basically Burnout Paradise 2. Now, I would say
That's slandering Paradise's
don't
name,
sully
man.
the name of Burnout by calling
Dog.
it that. But actually, I have a friend He said that
No,
he
it's like no,
considered.
it's like no. It's like today. It's like you don't know Need for Speed fans. No, that's yours. Don't give
Yeah,
it to
yeah,
anyone
don't
else.
give it to
Oh no,
us.
you keep that. You can keep that. You can keep that. Thank you very
Um,
much.
um, One of my friends, he considers Most Wanted 2012 to basically be a better version of Paradise, and honestly, like it's your opinion. I don't really care. Good for you. That's
Yeah,
completely
is it
fine.
just like the racing aspect? I guess.
I guess maybe just like the whole thing is a package deal. You know, I did really enjoy the game when I was younger. When it first came out, I actually did really enjoy Most
I
Wanted
didn't even
2012.
play it when it first came out. I played it a little
Mm,
later.
yeah, yeah. But then, like
No,
as
I
time
did, I
went
did, I did.
on,
I hide it out because I heard how many people were like,
mm,
they said it was like, oh, it's a rough one.
yeah,
So yeah,
I didn't
I don't
really
think it was
consider
bad.
the what's it called? It being called Most Wanted. I wasn't expecting it to be at all like '05. I saw the gameplay and I was like, oh, okay, it's kind of like it kind of looks like Paradise. So then I
I
bought
saw the
it and
gameplay. I'm like, okay, I get it. I
yeah,
get the name. I get it. Yeah,
yeah, and for a little bit it was fun, but then I don't know. I just get like as time went on, I just realized like, what is this? This is a scuffed
What
version
is
of
this?
Burnout. It's like everything that is a characteristic of it that people would compare it to Burnout with. It's just a lesser version of it. I don't know how to explain it. The billboards, in I think there were far less. I could be wrong actually. And there's no real reward for finding all of them. I think you get like 10,000 speed points, but you get like 12 grand in speed points after beating one event for the first time. So that's like, what's even the point? Um, but you get some speed points in a Burnout. You get a unique carbon fiber car, a carbon fiber variant of a car that exists, and it has a change in boost type. It's stronger, is way faster, and actually, I think faster than the majority of cars after what version 1.9 or remastered, and has like max boost stat or something similar to that. You actually had an incentive, but in Most Wanted, they're just kind of there, and the jumps leading up to it, the handling model, um, you know, molasses simulator aside, it just doesn't feel right for like you need really tight arcadey controls for you know billboards and jumps and stuff like that. It wasn't extreme enough. But even that, if it was as extreme as Burnout, the handling model wouldn't fit it. It would just be weird. So that definitely confused a lot of people. But
Yeah, it's
mainly it
interesting because
confused
it's the
people.
idea
I go
with
ahead.
building a handling model around the map.
Yeah, you see that
Like
that's
I feel like Hot Pursuit 2010 did that
yes,
very well.
they did that. Yeah, and so like yeah, again,
Sweep,
I
sweeping
personally
handlings
don't
and
like.
sweeping roads.
Yeah, I personally don't like that in Hot Pursuit 2010. Like a light supercar will still feel like a Ford F-150, in my opinion. Okay, in my opinion, really really slow handling and weird. But the road width is basically everything about the game would accommodate itself in different ways. So I can't really complain about the handling model objectively, but just subjectively, it's just like, dude, I don't want to play this anymore. So yeah, there you go. With Most Wanted 2012, people are expecting it because of the name to be like Need for Speed, and they're also expecting to be like Most Wanted or 5, and it's completely not. Regardless of whether or not you like the game, because I know quite a few people who do like the game. That's completely fine. Um, but it's definitely not. Doesn't feel like traditional Need for Speed, and definitely doesn't feel like traditional Need for Speed Most Wanted '05. So that's gotta be a little bit confusing. Um, and then Rivals. Rivals went back to classic Need for Speed, but it really didn't innovate on much other than it's basically like, yo, we took Hot Pursuit 2010 and we made some changes. So, again, the era of confusion. Undercover. Supposed to be like Most Wanted '05, but isn't. Hot Pursuit 2010. It's classic Need for Speed all over again made by Criterion. The Run is a movie more than it is a video game. Most Wanted
You know what's interesting
2012.
about the idea of classic Need for Speed?
Yeah, yeah, what?
I think the reason why people so confused it's like if someone would call it classic Need for Speed is because classic to them is like Underground 1. But
Interesting.
they don't particularly know much or have experienced the actual like original Need for Speeds. Like it pretty much is.
Yeah, yeah,
With Pursuit Tech, some new additions, but yeah, at the core,
yeah, yeah.
big
It
coastal sweeping roads,
pretty much.
supercars,
Yeah. So, again, and
police.
then after that, Most Wanted 2012, people think it's gonna be like Most Wanted, and it's like Burnout, not even like a different Need for Speed game. And then Rivals goes back to classic NFS. So it's just confusing all around. And also just how
And
buggy
that's the
Rivals
thing when
was.
like say like oh the identity and Need for Speed, they never had a solid one. They just
Yeah.
bounced back and forth
They bounce
between.
between different ideas. And, honestly, like, I don't even care necessarily. Like, like, does it stick true to its identity? And I just like, is it a good game that I can play? That's what I care about. But also, like, if Hot Pursuit 2010 is considered to be a good game, and suppose that if there was some way to 100% assuredly, objectively, quantify it as a good game, well, I just don't like the. I'm just not a huge fan of the whole, stock supercar driving scenic route thing. And I get why people like it. No, I completely do. That's completely fine. And actually, it's nice to have once in a while, even from someone who doesn't normally like it. But, um, yeah, I guess I would like a more underground style game. But at the end of the day, I also just want a good game. Like, what I mean is
That's
this:
where I'm at this
if
point. I just please.
like, I will be honest, I'm not gonna be as happy if it's if you get another Hot Pursuit, just personally,
Yeah.
right? And there's nothing I can do to it. I'm not gonna like I don't know, brainwash myself, convince myself that I need to like the old ones better. Um, but
Brainwash.
like what I mean when I just care about a good game. If Need for Speed's identity is all stock supercars, then and they make an underground style game, then I'm probably gonna like the underground style game. I'm probably going to like it a lot, just because that just appeals to me. Like I also like Midnight Club, also like street racing and all that stuff. So that's that. I don't really care about the identity necessarily. Now it's great that the identity is supposed to be street racing, but that's only because it appeals to me. I don't even know if that's a wise decision or if that's what the majority wants. I think that is what the majority now wants, but I know there are a lot of Hot Pursuit fans and original NFS fans who are really disappointed with the way it's going, and you know, I feel like they could have branched it off into two different series, maybe, and then I bet all of our problems would have gone away. Because think about it this way: if EA Canada kept working on it, or whoever it was kept working on a traditional style Need for Speed, and then Blackbox makes Underground and then keeps it like that, but like as a spin-off series, and then that keeps going, and because it's a spin-off series, it can stay true to that. It doesn't have to shift and change to what happened with Hot Pursuit 2010, Most Wanted, etc. So whatever, um, I just want a good Need for Speed game, and yeah, I guess also one that would appeal to what I like. But yeah, of course, that's how human beings work. So that's the era of confusion, undercover to rivals, all around. Just like what the heck is happening? So from
Oh,
from 2015 and on, I'm actually gonna call that the underground era, and not from Underground One until Pro Street, or Underground One until Carbon, however people want to say it.
you
Because
could say like if people want to like argue semantics, like you
yeah,
get to even like the neo underground, like the Renaissance. No, not a Renaissance. Sorry, that's a neo. It would be like a return to underground. You could
yeah,
say.
yeah, yeah. I guess it could be that as well. Because, but the thing is, with when Underground 1 came out, it was kind of to cash in on the whole illegal street
Oh,
racing thing.
definitely. Now, like
Because with
admit it.
Fast and
Yeah.
Furious and all the other stuff that's happening,
Yeah,
right?
Fast and
So,
Furious. It was like as kids and stuff would be like getting consoles. It was like the perfect storm, honestly.
yeah, it
That
was.
fucking era.
And because of that, it never really said, hey, this is the identity. It's more like, we're going to just chase this thing, this trend. So, because of that, I don't really even consider that the Underground era. Just because it's not. I mean, they didn't make that as to make it need for uniquely make that Need for Speed. It's more like they just happened to chase a trend, and then a lot of people seem to like the
Fast and
games that
Furious
came out of
era.
it. Yeah, actually, yeah, the early Fast and Furious era, basically.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
To be fair, like how many Fast and Furious are there? Like what? 4, 3.
9 now.
My brain is only like fucking that many, mate.
Yeah, dude.
Only that many.
After 3 and or maybe 4, it's just like I don't even. The rest are not even the same movie franchise anymore. So
I
from
don't even mind
2015
doing
until now,
like the illegal shit. Like 4 was like
4 is also
5
just
was where it started to get like, okay, we're seeing something.
yeah. Because 4 actually I would
4
consider that to be one
4
4.
like Cartel Drivers the movie.
Yeah, I
Like,
gotta
it's pretty much
rewatch 4 because I actually haven't seen 4
but
in
in
a
the
long
end, it was
time.
still like it was still pretty much based around like I wouldn't say illegal race, but like racing and driving to a degree.
Yeah.
Because like what was happening, if he had to race against like blah 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 cartel, yeah.
Yeah.
I appreciate that you had that to like get into like to prove that you were like worthy to drive for the cartel. You had to win like a literal no streets blocked off like point to point race.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And then
That's
5,
true.
what we have in 5 is where it started getting like noticeable
Yeah,
something
like
was
all right, what's
changing.
going on? Um,
It
for
was like the
sure.
bank vault part, like yeah, that's cool, but also like wait, what's going on?
Yeah, 100%. So back to Need for Speed, I would consider from 2015 until now the quote unquote underground era, just because when they made 2015, they said basically this is a reboot of the franchise. This is what it's going to be focused on, right? So the Hot Pursuit 2010 style, or no, I think the original style, the classic era of Need for Speed, that is not what Need for Speed is anymore. They essentially redefined it. So I think that basically would call this now the underground era. Because say what you want about Payback and Heat, they still have car customization and car upgrades and illegal street racing. And because that's part of the series now as a big thing, not just
If you
a trend that they're
like
chasing
with
after.
payback, like race, the house and all that bullshit. It was like
Yeah.
still racing, G, still
Still is
racing.
still is underground racing, I
How
guess.
it's like still big like the house, big fucking mafia that runs shit, but like
Yeah.
then it was still the part that mattered was like what Outlaws Rush like that final race.
Yeah.
It was still
So,
a race that decided shit. It reminded me of like Tokyo Drift,
oh yeah.
where it was like, yeah, we forget you went to fucking Yakuza doing like yo, it's race. Like damn dog, you might just vanish.
No, like it's gonna happen in real life.
You might end up in like 100 tin cans
Yeah, you
marked as
might.
like corned beef. But
Yeah.
he went in a race.
Yeah. That always did confuse me about Tokyo Drift, but it is what it is. Um, with
I
Criterion
guess the
being
guy,
the
homeboy, Kumicho G was just like, this kid's like, this is a fucking street racer. He's not actually like like full blown impeding on business. Fucking might
yeah
as well just let him.
yeah that's true. Um, back to Need for Speed with the Criterion being the devs of NFS again. I think that things will still stay the way they are just because they said by making Need for Speed 2015 and alongside making Need for Speed 2015 that it's going to be a major part of the series. So, I don't know. Here's the thing, right? Most Wanted '05 I consider basically to be a good combination of both styles of gameplay, of both classic and modern Need for
Yeah.
Speed, or classic and underground Need for Speed. It reintroduced supercars, reintroduced cops, and I think it was honestly like more focused on cops than it was illegal street racing. What would you say?
Mm,
I think I could say that.
literally, exactly. Like the whole thing is focused around like
Yeah, basically.
cross and
Yeah,
that whole thing. Yeah.
yeah. I thought that was interesting. Basically, you are the protagonist. Your antagonist is Razor, but your another antagonist is Cross, and Cross doesn't
Because
like the
actually,
other
no, if anything,
antagonist, Racer.
he's like you know how like in some games you'll defeat like the final boss, like that he isn't shit. Oh wait, who's he? Oh wait, that's the actual final boss. Oh, that's gonna be fucking hard. Like, I
Yeah,
haven't played it, but I'd say one thing of that would be like from what I'm told would be like Shan. like he's like, oh, I seen that actual battle and it looks fucked. Like
Yeah.
trying to do that, and it's like, yeah, okay, that's like what Cross was, because literally it was like, yeah, you took down Rays, but now you literally have to escape the fucking city because they just
Yeah.
have a full blown Heat level 6 APB on you.
Yeah, man. It's
Like, yeah,
the first
you can be
time.
a Razor racing boy, but them feds are gonna fucking
Yeah,
run you
like it
down. Hell,
it took me a long time to
think
get
about
through
bro,
a Final
think about
Pursuit the
Most
first
Wanted
time.
5. Think about Carbon's intro. He's still fucking chasing you.
Yeah, a whole
You
game
literally get
later,
chased
whole
down
city later.
previously in the intro sequence.
Yeah, so
He
dang.
takes you the fuck out.
Yeah, it finally does. Um, so yeah, that's I guess how I'd kind of see uh NFS and where it's heading and all that stuff. So another thing that happened recently is there was a DLC pack in Forza. Now, I think you can talk about this a little bit just because you recently got Forza actually, Horizon 4.
Very
Yeah,
recently.
very recently. So, anyways, this pack called the Welcome Pack. It adds a lot of cards that already exist in Forza, but it's for new players, right? To get into the game. So, it costs I think $3 USD. It has an F50, the new Ford GT, Porsche 718, the Focus RSRX, the Toyota Baja truck thing, the Aventador, a Subaru rally car, and the Jeep CJ5 Renegade. Again, all of these are cars you can normally get in the game. However, these cars are slightly modified. Not as in, oh, it's Forza, they have an upgrade that's on it pre-installed. No, I mean their properties are modified. They're different. They handle differently. Some of them have different tire data and other things, right? Which is so confusing because why would you do that? I have no idea. It makes no sense whatsoever. But these cars that are supposed to be meant for new players, they're going to be played just by the hyper competitive scene and people who play
No, because
ranked.
I can. The great example of that is when they add new, say, like new characters for fighting games, and you notice like they feel significantly better.
Yeah.
And it's like, I guess it's, especially with legacy games like fighting games, like, yeah, they have to make them easier, but it's also like, what happens when those easy characters get into the hands of someone who's just a monster?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then you see what happens. It's like, oh shit, isn't that character just gonna get a nerf, ain't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So it's just
But they ain't nerfing those cars in Forza,
yeah,
no
yeah.
sir, they're staying.
Yeah, these things it's weird because it's almost like they maybe they were testing out these cars. It's like, okay, we changed something with the handling model. This might be a test for Horizon 5, but you know what? The Crew 2, which is much crap as people and myself included have given it. What I like about it is you had beta test handling versions of cars. You could buy like an M2 and then the M2 beta handling edition with in-game credit. You don't have to pay real money for it, and then it actually feels different. But it's available to everyone, right? So if that ended up being OP for street racing or hypercar or whatever, I mean, if the M2 is an example, then it would not be hypercar racing. But if it was, then at least anyone can access it. Whereas this, there's a paywall. There's a paywall, and it's so weird. So maybe they're not testing out new handling for Horizon 5. Maybe they genuinely wanted to have a car to welcome people to the game with. But then for some reason they messed stuff up. If they had cars feeling exactly the way they do normally, I'd be 100% fine with this. I'm like, you know what? Go ahead. If you have the $3 and you want to get these cars, go right on ahead. Now, I'm gonna ask you, since you very recently played Forza for the first or Horizon 4, and you very recently bought it, would you pay $3 US? That's like what, maybe 5 New Zealand, maybe. Um,
Yeah,
would you pay that
about
much for, an F50, 4GT, Porsche 718, RSRX, Baja truck, Aventador, Subaru rally thing, and a CJ5? Would you pay that much for those cars? And why or why not?
No, probably not.
Yeah,
Actually, to be fair, if I got like I said, if I like I said before when we were talking, like if I full commit to the sweat, yeah, probably.
yeah. But
Like
here's the
they're the
thing:
meta
the
cards anyway.
difference is you would do that if these cars were actually OP or something along those lines. However, let's assume that they aren't. Let's assume that they aren't. Would you?
Fuck no.
Yeah, and the reason is because
Waste
the
money.
progression is bad, and now you get to experience it firsthand. Why would anybody spend $3 on these cars when it'll take a few hours of gameplay to get them? I don't even understand it. Like, am I
That's the
going
amount of the meta,
crazy?
so there is a reason to pay for them.
Am I losing my mind? Or are games not requiring that you need to play them anymore? Basically,
No, you're not losing
that's
your
like
mind. A lot of
the
games are
turn
like that.
of
Actually, I think
modern
the
games.
biggest fucking, it's became very commonplace in modern, but I think the largest example of that was I didn't even really play this game. I know my boys do, and there was like huge outcry about it. In the World of Warcraft community, you can purchase like in-game currency, like premium currency gold, and like you can get a gold boost to level up your character like to 60 or whatever and get like good gear. But some people
Oh,
like, bro, it took me insert amount of time to get to that level to grind. Now you can just buy it. Like it feels like they were cheated out of like the work.
yeah, yeah,
And to be
dang.
fair, the main thing that sounds bad because you can put up the argument. It's like, oh, but like then isn't like then oh wait, how do I word this? Like let's see what's a scrub quote. I'll be like, oh, it's not like they said they wouldn't, and then no, they did. That's the reason why they're fucking up in arms. They said this would never be a thing. Like throughout, like they've been saying that pretty much probably before most of the people were saying, oh, but it's not like they said they wouldn't. Like before they were born, like
Dang.
pre-2000, they said even in World of Warcraft, like classic vanilla, like they're like, nah, this is never gonna be a thing. You have to grind, you have to earn
Yeah,
your like levels and your gear. It's like, oh, it's not now.
that's crazy. Um, yeah. Back to Forza. It just everything about this pack baffles me. Another thing is why would they introduce this years into its life cycle? This would have made sense when it first. Honestly, you know what? Being honest, this would be great pre-order
It's
DLC.
literally called a welcome pack. You think they would have
Yeah,
added that as day one?
yeah. You know, I wouldn't mind this as day one. Okay, if it was original cars, cars that are not modified in any way to the original properties of them, this would be perfect pre-order DLC or day one DLC. The reason why is
Yeah.
because if you don't want them, you don't have to have them, but they don't provide an advantage or necessarily anything different. But it still is a nice little bonus, right? If it was a pre-order bonus, that makes total sense. 'Cause, dude, the pre-order cars in Forza, they have their own unique properties, and some of them have been OP in the past. Like the 720S used to be a car a lot of people used in S2, I think, I want to say. And then same with the 911 GT3 RS pre-order edition. Um, so it's I could be wrong there. I don't know. But what I'm saying is that would be perfect pre-order DLC because, if you pre-ordered the game just because you wanted to, you're like, oh, okay, that's cool. There's a little bonus, some extra cars right off the bat, um, you know, and that wouldn't disrupt anything because it's not like actual content they originally had planned for the game and then cut out and then decided to say, okay, this is DLC now. Um, so it's baffling. Every part about this pack is baffling. It doesn't make any sense. First of all, why anyone in Horizon 4's economy would need these cars and would pay real money for them when it's probably not going to take them that much time to get their hands on them. But,
Are they better? Yeah.
yeah, I don't know why it wasn't
Because that's
released
the point.
earlier. And also, why do they have their own unique properties? And, I know it might sound like I'm going crazy by thinking that
To be
these
fair,
cars are going to be
I
OP.
can argue in like, it is like the logical way, but it's also like the scummy business way. The reason why they give unique properties and some might
So
be
that people
better
can buy
is
them.
because that what is the incentive to buy them.
Yeah, it
And
really is.
it's like a real greasy business model straight,
It
especially
is.
when they're in the game. These are just like specifically like you
Actually,
didn't
you
even
know
know
what?
like
It
seeing
makes
like
more sense from a
campers.
business standpoint. Yeah, it does because a
Yeah,
lot of the people who are left,
it's like mostly a business standpoint when it comes to a lot of this shit.
because a lot of the people who are left playing Horizon are the ones who are hyper competitive. So it would make sense to release something for them. That would explain why it
You
took
think
so
they
long
wouldn't
for them to release
name
it.
it like the welcome pack? You think they would name this something else?
No, because they still want to have uh the appearance of just the average, great developer, but they're really just, businessmen.
Who thinks
They
that?
want to have the appearance of something else, so they're gonna call it the welcome pack. I don't know. No, I don't mean this to be like some big grand conspiracy. I'm just saying whatever the heck is coming off the top of my head. So that's
Nah, it's not
that.
like
And I know
yeah,
people
no,
might be thinking that, oh, you're hyper paranoid. These cards, like, just because they have unique properties and tire data and other stuff, doesn't mean that they're going to be OP. The Toyota Baja truck, the new one, in this welcome pack is already considered to be the best S1 cross country car. Already.
And to be fair, let me
Already.
say from this point, from like any standpoint, business or otherwise, like having those cars cost money. They're already in the game. They just have unique qualities, but them not be like better than the normal ones would be
Yeah,
fucking bad in every
that
way.
would be.
Like there's no reason to purchase it then.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. A lot of them are bog standard S1 900 when you buy them, I think, or something like that, right? So because they're built within classes, for a new player that's like, oh, I have an S1 900 car. Good, I can now do like top of S1 races. So I can completely understand that. But you see, then really the option is, do you give them unique properties and make them better, or do you
I know the
not give
word.
them unique properties?
I know the term for that where it's like they're already at 900 or like 800, like just very good.
Yeah.
The term for that is fucking easy use. You don't have to tune. You don't have to know what to upgrade to make it good. It's just
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. So I could see that, but then again, it's one of those things where I guess then the question is, do you give them unique properties and make them better, or do you not give them unique properties and then don't like harm the meta of the game or affect it? Um, but regardless, it is the way it is, and the Baja truck is already the best S1 cross country vehicle in the game now, according to what people have found. And also, like they already own quite a lot of world records in rivals mode. See a lot of welcome pack cars.
I
So
was about to say I trust the Sweets who like study the meta and all that shit.
yeah, so
I trust them.
they already
Not
have
over the
have it figured
fucking not
out.
over the like the hard stock loser scrub who's trash.
Yeah. So that's just, you know, man. Why, out of all the things you could have released now, Forza, that was the one thing you did. Cars that already have in the game, except they're better. And I guess it's like, oh, it's only $3, but I don't want to pay $3 for this. I don't think it's worth $3 to be honest. It's worth $3 if you really like go hardcore at it, but if you also look at all the other DLC cars that end up being really, really, really good, for certain classes and things, I think Forza actually has a pay to win problem, a minor one, very, very minor, very, very minor pay to win problem. The Shelby Monaco apparently that was also OP, and like some of the other cars, the Bear Jackson Packard, something else. I don't know, man. It's wild, but um, yeah, I
Pay to
don't really have
win,
anything else to
especially
say.
within like a competitive sense, that's not good in like
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, no, it's not. But here's to Horizon 5. Maybe they don't repeat these mistakes then. Let's hope for that. Um, yeah. So welcome pack.
All you can do is hope.
Yeah. Um, the last thing we should talk about, there was rumors that EA Blackbox was returning. Everyone rejoice. Hooray.
Ah, Black Box Coomers and Cooming. Underground 3.
Oh my gosh. So it's some random article from some random thing. It's all in Spanish, I think, so I had to go translate it. With Google Translate. I feel like there's like little reliability in it. Who knows? Maybe I'm proven wrong, but I don't care at this point. Don't keep your hopes up, right? Because it's a name. You hear the word black box, but you don't actually think before you start, you know, like thinking
To
that
do
Need for
my
Speed's
thing
gonna
with
come
hope
back.
is, it's like you can hope, just don't
Be
like
reasonable.
be reasonable and don't feel discouraged if it like
If
blows
it's
up in your
not, yeah.
face.
So apparently, according to this site, they reopened.
Like expect the worst and hope for the best.
Yeah. Apparently,
That's
Blackbox reopened in 2019 and EA was gonna have them work on Skate 4.
Hey, that's the real game we need to be talking about. That
Yeah.
Blackbox needs to make. Fuck Need for Speed. Get off the franchise, honestly. Get back to Skate 4, dogs. Don't worry about fucking Need for Speed.
Apparently,
Sell better anyway. Don't worry. So get on that one.
true. Apparently, EA is gonna have the same thing they did in between like Pursuit 2010 to right and Most Wanted. So Criterion, Blackbox, then Criterion again. We're gonna alternate. Apparently, they're gonna do that with Criterion making the next Need for Speed game, and then Blackbox is gonna make the next one. Guys, it's confirmed. No, it's not confirmed. But apparently that's what they're saying. And at this point, who even knows what's gonna happen with Need for Speed or anything? Just take it with a grain of salt, okay? Yeah, there are rumors of Blackbox returning, but no, it's not going to be all the people from Blackbox, because some of them are in Ghost, and some of them are in Criterion now, and some of them are also probably in Playground Games, and some of them are probably at Ivory Tower. They're all over the place, likely. I mean, I wouldn't know specifically, but it's just a name at this point. The same goes with Criterion. Criterion, it being Criterion doesn't mean anything. And that's what I think people aren't realizing. I think it's pretty sure it's mainly Ghost, and with like 30 less Ghost employees, and then a bunch of the other Criterion. So I like really when I think of Criterion now, I think of the Star Wars, the modern Star Wars things, because that's what they basically did. It's just like, dude, don't tell me that you're gonna be hyped for Blackbox to return, because it might even not. And even if Blackbox returned, no. Even if Blackbox returned and it was the exact same people
people wanting to clutch on to Blackbox isn't gonna do good. Is like clutching on to like nostalgia, the good old days.
Yeah, but you seem to forget.
Bro. You go on.
Yeah, suppose that.
And if it comes back, I get wrong, then like, I'm happy to be proven wrong.
Yeah, same here.
I don't really care about being proven wrong. It's like,
yeah. Please prove me wrong.
Fuck would I really care?
Please prove me wrong.
Like, I would enjoy that a lot.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah.
We're at the point where we're pleading to be proven wrong. Fucking hell.
Even if Blackbox came back, and it wasn't just a name, if they found every EA Blackbox employee, and then EA paid them so generously that they left their jobs, like, okay, I'll work on Blackbox at Blackbox and make Need for Speed again. What if we get another Undercover? What if we get another The Run? And I know a lot of people like Pro Street. I like Pro Street. I love Pro Street. I love it a lot. What if we get another Pro Street? Still not quite as great as Most Wanted, Carbon, Underground 2, according to a lot of maybe the majority of the franchise. It's just one of those things where there is so little sign of this meaning anything good. So little sign of this meaning anything good. It's some random thing off some random website, so it's probably not true. Again, prove me wrong. Go ahead. I'm okay with that. I will stand corrected. That's not a problem for me. But even if, there's so many layers to this. Suppose that this rumor is false. Then that's it. Whatever. Criterion, Need for Speed. If it's correct, and Blackbox is working on Need for Speed alongside Criterion, Blackbox is an entirely different set of people, so that means nothing. Then, suppose now that it had the original staff. That could still mean nothing, because we could still get another Undercover. So, please. I mean, apparently some people are, and not very many people, I think a lot of people will, look at this article and say, yeah, okay, yeah, sure, man. And I think, like, what we're saying is, we probably sound like a broken record, because it's probably what a lot of people have been thinking, because
Need for Speed is one big fucking broken record.
If Blackbox were to return it,
every now and then, like, it's like the fucking record that is not even broken. It's like it like glitches out every now and then and skips to a different part of the song that sounds different. Yeah. That's like what it's like for like Need for Speed when it switches between like what the games are about. Like it's like okay, so we went from supercargo Vermin cops to customization and illegal street racing and co-ops. And then we went
And then we
to
went to
Sims-ish stuff with Shift, and it's like, what?
what's even happening? Yeah. Uh, it's all one big fever dream. That's one way to look at it. But like, even if Blackbox returns, and even if it's the exact same people, who's to say they're not gonna make another undercover? Who's to say it's not gonna be another mess? You know, if you look at the early things for Most Wanted 2012, it was going to be an original Most Wanted successor. It actually was. But EA or someone, maybe it was a Criterion, maybe it was someone at EA, I don't know the story. People speculate that it's EA, or maybe they know from something that they found out. I don't know. I would not know. But, you know, what I'm saying is something got messed up with that game's development, and that is why it's the way it is, for the better or for worse. There are so many factors to this, and it's crazy. And you know what's interesting? I just now thought about this. Every attempt to make a spiritual successor, or kind of like a sequel to Most Wanted, 05 ended up in failure. Because, well, Carbon's the direct sequel, but you look at what happened with Undercover, and then you look at what happened with Most Wanted 2012. It's cursed. The universe will not allow there to be a proper Most Wanted 05 sequel. It's just not possible. Many have tried and failed. So, yeah, don't get hyped about this. For your own sanity, please. Yeah. So that is that, and I believe no one left a comment on the last one, but despite that, I will check now because I'm irresponsible and I should have done that beforehand. And we're gonna do a live. Oh, wow. Well, I don't really have anything to say other than I should have known, and I should have checked on it before, but I just never quite remember. There are none. Let's go. Okay, so that will be it for the Vermin Sermon. Please leave a comment, and hopefully, if you do, I'll actually look at it, because I should, because I absolutely should. We're starving. I'd feed upon comments for sustenance.
My malnourished from my daily intake of comments.
Yeah, so if there's anything you want us to talk about, go ahead and let us know. And we'll see you guys all in the next one.